Now let us start with the next topic, that is external sources of recruitment. External sources means when you are hiring the employees for the vacant post in your organization from outside. It means you are not going to promote the employees, or you are not going to transfer the employees from within the organization. Rather, you are calling the employees from outside. So there are various methods by which we can do this, by which we can do external recruitment. So let us discuss the few sources. The first is direct recruitment. See, direct recruitment is also known as recruitment at factory gate. Means when in a factory, at the notice board of the factory or at the gate of the gate of the factory, when one notice or when one board is put up, and on that board this thing is mentioned that we need 50 employees to work in an organization. So this is known as direct recruitment or recruitment at factory gate. So when person they come and they read whatever is written on that board, then what do? They gather at a particular place which is mentioned on that notice board at that particular time only, and then and there only the screening and selection is done. It means one notice is put up at the factory gate on which number of employees required is written, time and the place where they have to assemble is mentioned. So the manager or the supervisor, that person goes to that particular place and do the selection and screening then and there only. So it is known as recruitment at factory gate. So now it's very clear that such type of recruitment is suitable only for unskilled jobs. Unskilled jobs means, or you may say semi-skilled jobs, like basically the job of laborers, you may say. Fine, because when we want to hire the person for an unskilled job only, or to work in a factory at a very lower level, then only we can use this method. So it is very inexpensive also, because we don't have to advertise anywhere in newspapers or TV. We just have to put up a notice board at the gate. And secondly, it is suitable for filling casual vacancies. Casual vacancies means suppose the permanent employees of your companies, they are absent, they are on leave, and now you need some more employees, those who can work at their place for some time. Like suppose the employees of your company has gone to their native places for 4 to 5 months, and during this time period only there is huge demand for your product. Now in that case, what you have to do? You have to resort to this direct recruitment, and you have to fill these vacancies for time being. Time being means for 3 months or for 4 months. So this is known as direct recruitment. It is quite inexpensive and it is suitable for filling casual vacancies. Casual means when permanent workers are absent, and just for that tenure only you need some employees. It is basically used for unskilled workers or laborers. Then next is casual callers. See, I can give you this example relating to a school itself. Suppose in a school, many job seekers, what do? They come at the school's reception and they give their biodata. Whether that time the position is vacant or the job is vacant or not. Simply just as they are looking for a job, so they are giving their biodata in many reputed schools. So what the school is doing then? Because as job is not there, but they used to maintain a record or a file, and they used to keep the biodatas, all the forms in that particular file itself, so that when the position becomes vacant, then instead of advertising in the newspaper or like in the TV, they can hire the people, or they can look for the candidate from those biodata forms only. I hope this point is clear. So casual callers means when a person is looking for a job and he or she is giving his biodata form, fine, or CV at different places or different companies, schools or organizations, and what the organization is doing in this case, organization is maintaining a record, maintaining a file for the same, and when they need when they are in need of an employee for a vacant post, then they are looking or then they find a suitable candidate from that file itself. So this reduces the cost of the company also, because now they don't have to advertise it, already they have so many biodata forms with them, they can contact that person and can call them, like can call her or his for interview. Next is advertisement in newspaper, journals and TV. As I told you in the previous video also that you might have seen some advertisement in the newspaper regarding the vacant post or the jobs required. You might have seen that. So that process is known as advertisement in newspaper, journals or TV. Now the biggest advantage of this method is that you get so many candidates and you get a wide range of, and you get a big choice, because now you can find out the suitable candidate from so many people. But the basic disadvantage is that you may get a flood of response of unsuitable candidate also, because see, you can't stop any person from applying for a job. Fine, but when you advertise in TV or in newspaper, then many people can read that. Many people come to know about the vacant post in your organization and they might apply. Fine, then this process become very lengthy, because when suppose for a job you get 100 applications, then you have to check all the 100 employees to get only one suitable candidate. So no doubt it gives you a wide range of choices also, but at times you get flood of responses. And you may also get some undeserving candidates also, which may waste your time, because ultimately you have to scrutinize each and every person. So I hope this point is also clear. Next is employment exchanges. See, this might you not be knowing. Employment exchange. First of all, understand this thing, that employment exchanges, they are always run by the government itself. Government. Government has established a department which is known as Employment Exchange Department. Now in that department, basically what is happening, the persons, those who want to apply for a job in the government sector, or those who want to keep them updated about the jobs in the government sector, what do? They register themselves with the employment exchange. Earlier they had to register manually. Manually means they had to go to the employment exchange of their particular area, then they had to fill a form, then they had to submit all the attested copies of their documents. But now this entire process is online. Online means now simply over the net you can open the website and you can fill all the required fields over there. Then you can upload all your documents, and then the government will update you as and when the job of your type will come in. Fine. So employment exchanges are run by the government only. First of all, this point should be clear to you, and secondly, you have to register yourself there. And whenever registration means you have to tell them about you, your age, your experience, your educational qualification, everything. Earlier you had to fill a manual form, but now you can do all this process even online. So basically this employment exchange program is suitable for skilled and unskilled, because for both, means even a person who want to act as a laborer or who want to work as a PN may also apply, and the one who wants to become an income tax inspector can also register himself or herself with the employment exchanges. I hope this point is clear to you. So let us have a short recap. Direct recruitment means recruitment at factory gate, where a notice board is put up at the gate only, and on that notice board the number of employees required, the timings of interview, place of interview is mentioned, and basically the selection process is done at the gate itself. The manager comes or the supervisor comes and he scrutinizes or selects the best employee. Then casual callers. As I told you that when you are looking for a job and you are giving your biodatas in different companies or school, and the schools or the companies, they keep a proper record for the same, and then they call you as and when the position becomes vacant. The next is advertisement in TV or newspaper. It gives you a wide range of choice, but at times you get flood of undeserving candidates as well. And then next is employment exchanges. As I told you, it is run by the government. You have to register yourself over there. Earlier it was done manually, now it is online. You have to share your details like your educational qualification or your experiences, and the government will update you as and when the job comes in. Next is placement agencies. Placement agencies and government exchanges. Basically the difference is government exchanges, these employment exchanges are run by the government, but placement agencies are run by the private individuals. You might have seen in your area also a company is there who used to provide jobs to the people. How are they providing the jobs to the people? Basically they act as an intermediator between the person who wants a job and between the person who is giving a job. Means a mediator between the employer and the potential employee. जो अभी employee बन सकता है, that is known as potential employee. Fine. So what do? They keep you update about the jobs. Means first of all you have to go to the placement agencies. Again you have to give your biodata, your contact number, education qualification, attested copies of your documents, and then they charge us some specific fee also. Fine, like that specific fee can be 500 rupees or 1000 rupees for registration, and then they ask for even half month salary also. Means when you get job somewhere, then they may ask for half month's salary even. So this work is done by placement agencies only. Now when you register yourself at the placement agency, then they keep circulating your biodatas to different companies, because not only the employees or the job seekers, but the companies also, they come in contact with these placement agencies. Like they tell them that we need so and so person in our employee, like in our company. So whenever job seekers they approach this placement agencies, then this placement agency act as a mediator between the job seeker and the employer. The placement agency is going to set up a time for the interview where the job seeker can go to that very company, can appear for the interview, and if he or she gets selected, then he or she has to pay his or her half month salary to the placement agencies also. I hope this point is clear. Placement agencies are run by the private individuals, or the like you and I, we can also set up one industry or one company where we say that we assure you to provide job, only you have to come and register with us. So not only job seeker they register themselves with the placement agencies, but the companies also they register. Companies they give their demands that we need so and so person at so and so position, and we are ready to give so and so salary. Now they have given their demand. Now the one who is in seek of a job can also approach this placement agencies. Now placement agency is a mediator. He will set a meeting of the job seeker with the employer, and then when the job seeker will come in contact with the employer, then he or she may get selected. Fine. Now but after getting this after getting selected, the job seeker has to pay his half month salary to the placement agencies also. See, the rules they may vary. Some agencies they may ask for 50% salary, some may ask for 60% salary also, some may not ask for anything. So that depends upon placement agencies to agencies. Fine, there is no hard and fast rule. Next is campus recruitment. See, this point is very important for you, and this you know very well. This is the most awaited moment for a student's life. See, after doing your 12th, when you will get admission into a good college or a university, then at that time when you are in the last year of your degree, then some good companies they come. Fine, and they hold an interview in the campus itself, and they give job opportunities to the deserving candidate. Now deserving candidate means the one who is academically excellent, the one who is an outstanding outstanding in all the fields rather, and the person whose grades are very good. Fine, so that's why we always keep on emphasizing you to to study, so that you can score well in your 12th and you seek admission into a good college, so that some reputed companies they may come and they may give you some jobs. So this campus recruitment you might have seen in many movies. This doesn't need any explanation. Only that person can appear for such interviews, the one who is in the last year of her degree. You got my point? And then after completion of your degree, you can join that company if you get selected. Next is recommendations. Suppose you are already working in a company, fine, and your employer or the management gives you a message that we are looking for a person who can work in purchase department. If you know anybody, then please tell her or him to come and appear for the interview. This is known as recommendations. Again, it's very simple, inexpensive, time will also be saved, and secondly, when you are working in a company, then only you can recommend that person whose caliber and whose performance you know. आप किसी गलत पर्सन को तो अपनी कंपनी में एम्प्लॉय करेंगे नहीं या उन्हें रिकमेंड करेंगे नहीं, बिकॉज इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ योर गुडविल. And secondly, the company will also rely upon you easily because you have already been working in the company itself. So obviously you will always recommend a reliable person and a person whose goodwill is good, or you know about his or her caliber. So the company has also faith on such employees because obviously those employees have been recommended by their existing employees only, and they know very well, as they are working for so long in the company, then they are attached and dedicated to the company as well. They will never recommend a wrong person because it's a matter of their goodwill as well. Then before moving on to the 8th topic, let's discuss first of all 9th, that is web publishing. You might have heard about Naukri.com, सबने सुना होगा. You might have heard about Indeed, fine. You might have heard about many companies, like many such companies who provides job to the people. Now again, here also what you have to do, you have to register yourself with such like you have to register yourself on such websites. Fine, you have to write your educational qualification, you have to upload your resume and all, and when you become a part of such when you register yourself with such Naukri.com or anything, then employers, they may start contacting you because your resume is already saved with them, and they keep on checking checking these websites so that they can also get some good employees. And secondly, many new jobs also is being shown on such websites, so you may also apply. Fine. So it's web publishing means when on the websites like Naukri.com or Indeed, fine, when you register yourself on such websites, then you can also contact the employers, and many jobs are being published, and the employers, they may also contact you because you have already uploaded your resume before registrations. Fine. Now the last is labor contractors. See, labor contractors basically is a person who is an employee of a company itself. Basically, this term is used in case of factory jobs only, when you are looking for some unskilled jobs. You might have seen that movie, that Anil Kapoor's movie, you might have seen, that is Ladla, if you remember, if anyone of you have come across that movie. In that movie, the Anil Kapoor was acting as a labor contractor. Fine. Labor contractor is a person who is already working in the company. He is in contact with many persons, those who are ready to work as a laborer in the factory. So whenever factory needs some workers, the factory will tell this thing to the labor contractor, and the labor contractor will recruit or will call some his known persons so that they can be appointed on the job. Fine. So it means that this sort of employment or this sort of job giving process is basically done only for unskilled jobs. The biggest disadvantage of this method is that if the labor contractor leaves the organization, then all the employees, those who have joined the factory on her or on his recommendation, will also leave the firm, because they are very much attached to the contractor, because the contractor is act as a mediator between the worker and the management. He used to give all the instructions to the employees, and employees are more dedicated to contractor, they are less dedicated to the management. If the contractor is saying yes to anything, only then the employees they do. At times such relationship or such strong bond is created between the contractor and the worker. So labor contractors are basically the person who act as a mediator between the owner and the employees. And then secondly, They are working in the organization itself. They know many persons of their area only or nearby villages, those who are ready to work. So whenever they get a message from the management that we need some employees to work in our organization, then such contractor, he contacts the people, he tells them, he motivates them to come and join the company, and then at times he becomes the representative of the work of all the workers. Rather, he acts as a representative. I hope all the sources of external recruitment is clear to you. Thank you. Now, let us discuss the next topic, that is merits and demerits of external sources of recruitment. Till now, we have discussed the various sources of external recruitment. Now, let us come to their merits. The first is qualified personnel. See, which word I have used here? Personnel. Personnel. Personnel means the persons, like the human beings like you and I. Got it? So qualified personnel, this is one of the best like the advantages of external source of recruitment, because whenever you are going to invite the applications from outside for a vacant post in your organization, then in majority of the cases you always get the application of a suitable candidate, of an experienced candidate, of a deserving candidate. The opportunity to get a deserving candidate, it increases manifold. Fine, because like you not only get only one or two invitation, rather you get so many applications. Fine, so in that case the chances or the opportunity of getting a deserving candidate increases. Next is wider choice. This point we have already discussed, that whenever we like recruit the persons either through TV or newspaper, we always get applications in bulk. We get a wide range of choices from where we can find out a deserving candidate. Next is fresh talent. This point means, see, instead of getting a person who is already working in your organization, if we get a person from outside, then obviously that person will be more creative, will have more innovative ideas. Fine, then will have a, that person will belong to the young blood. Fine, so in that case we get fresh talent from outside also, but it doesn't mean that the person who are already working in a company, they are not that experienced or they are not that creative. The point is that whenever we employ new persons, it means we always seek for a new generation, and new generation, they have innovative ideas. No doubt they are not that experienced as compared to the employees, those who are already working, but still they may have some innovative and creative ideas. Next is healthy competition. Now, when the existing employees, they know this thing, that if they want to get promotion now, in that case they have to compete with the new persons, because now in this case the promotion is not time bound. Time bound means it's not necessary that a senior person will get promotion. Now in this case an experienced or a deserving person will get promotion. Now that deserving person can be a new person as well. So it means a kind of healthy competition, an environment of healthy competition exists, because now to get promotion the old employees or the existing staff has to compete with the fresh talent or young blood. Now comes to its demerits. The first is dissatisfaction among staff. Now if healthy competition doesn't exist, if the staff becomes very reluctant, or if they say, or if they show their frustration that why do we have to compete with a new person, we had been working in this company, we are much more experienced than them, then in that case the dissatisfaction may arise among these staff. They may feel demotivated as well. Fine, because now they know that the company is, because they feel that company is not relying upon them, but it's not a fact. The company always keep the general interest first of all. The interest of the subordinates for a company is always secondary. For them the interest of the company is foremost. So if a new person is much more experienced or deserving than an existing one, then the company will always will surely give promotion to a new person only. So this kind of situation may create some sort of dissatisfaction among the staff. They may feel demotivated, and in reality they shouldn't feel that. Then time consuming. See, selection is not done easily. Just calling people or just inviting them for applying jobs in the organization is recruitment. But for one job, you may get more than 100 applications also, but you can't give jobs to all 100. So what you have to do? You have to scrutinize. You have to check each and every person. Now in the next video, you'll be learning the selection process, and then you will understand this thing. Then you will realize this thing, that it's not easy to select a person for the job. It's not that easy. It's very time consuming. So this is a time consuming process, because the entire selection process has to be followed or has to be done on each and every person. And moreover, like inviting them first of all, and then waiting for their responses will also take time. It's not sure that suppose if today you have posted an advertisement in the newspaper or on TV, the same day you get the applications of the prospective candidates. It may happen that they may apply for the job after 10 days. Then you have to wait for that time. First of all, you have to wait for the applications, and then you have to wait for the getting a suitable candidate, because all the candidates have to go through the process. Then the next is expensive. See, advertising on TV or on newspaper is not that inexpensive. It's a quite costly process. You have seen in accountancy also, a company has to write off the advertisement expenses for so many years. Fine. So at times this process becomes very inexpensive. Expensive also. Expensive not only in terms of cost, but also in terms of time. So I hope the meaning of recruitment, its sources, their merits and demerits merits are clear to everyone. So we'll move to the next topic now. Thank you.